Hey yo, it's Lano and welcome back to another episode of Solely Survival. In last episode, we made the Skelly spawner and we explored a little bit of the nether. We didn't go too terribly crazy over there. I do want to spend some more time over there, but probably not today as I've got a few other things on my mind. So, as of the moment of this recording, it is June 8th, which means the 1.21 update has not yet dropped. That drops this Thursday, the 12th. And well, you see, I couldn't wait for the new features, so I've already updated the new world to 1.20.6, and I've gone ahead and enabled some of the experimental features. So yeah, that's something that I've been wanting to do for a little while now, and I just figured with the update being literally in 4 days, you guys wouldn't mind me going ahead and doing that, and then when the update actually rolls out, I'm just gonna jump right into that one and not worry about anything else. So yeah, I do have access to the new tuff blocks wherever I have my tuff stored at, right here. So if you go in here, you can see I've got all of the new stuff. And then the same with the copper, which I don't think I've smelted any of it yet. Doesn't look like it. Okay, no worries. Anyway, you get the idea. I've updated, and I'm really excited to try this out. So I don't really know entirely just what I want to build in this episode. I'm going to figure that out. But there are a couple of things that I want to work on in the meantime, and we'll see what comes of that. I'm just going to do that on stream and kind of show you guys what's going on there later, because I do have a different direction for this episode. I just don't know entirely what I'm building. So we're going to figure things out as we go. Anyway, enough rambling from me. I will see you guys here in a bit. All right, so I just wrapped up a stream just a little bit ago, and I went ahead and made this bridge on stream. So this bridge is the one leading over towards our spawn house that we built a couple of episodes ago. And this isn't anything super fancy, but this is utilizing the new tuff blocks. I'm not really gonna show this off too much because I've still got a lot of detailing and texturing and other things I want to add to this. But I did this on stream and I kind of expanded this course start path. I did this before the stream. And I planned on going on ahead and extending it all the way out and around, leading all the way over there to our base. But that path is going to be something that I add in later. I just wanted to show the little bit of progress that I made back here. The one thing that I want to discuss right now, though, is what I want to do with this episode. Frankly, I think it's time for some enchantments. I am sick of running around with nothing on these tools. I don't even care so much about the armor. I'm really worried about getting the enchantments set up on some of these tools. And by some of these tools, I mean diamond versions of these tools, because I'm not going to waste them on iron. But what I need to do is I need to make a build to go around an enchantment setup. Now, I do have plans on setting up an enchantment table down beside the Skelly spawner. I actually think that would be a really smart idea, considering that's going to be where I spend a lot of my time farming levels and everything. So I might as well do that. But I want one up here on the surface, not only for aesthetics, but for general use whenever I'm up here as well. So what I'm thinking is, right here is going to be where I build something. I'm thinking I might as well start making this whole area into like the city version of what I've got going on here. So this is all the countryside type stuff, like the more rural type of buildings and everything. And then once we lead all the way around here, it's going to start transforming into a busier and bigger city. And that's going to kind of transpire all across this area here at some point. And then I do plan on expanding outwards and over this direction and then around here and everything and so on. That's going to be a ways away though. We're not worried about that right now. I don't actually have plans for that far out yet, but I do have some ideas. So anyway, right now what I'm worried about is getting this area started. And the enchantment building, I'm thinking is going to go somewhere in here. And what I'm thinking is making a library. And now I know libraries are kind of played out in Minecraft when it comes down to enchantment setups and everything else. But just hear me out, okay? So I want my builds and my city to kind of have a story and a purpose behind it. And I feel like if there's going to be a city over here, a library would be fitting, because cities have libraries. And I figure if I'm going to have a library, I might as well make it useful. So that's what I'm doing. So I plan on getting a new axe and a new shovel and everything. and I'm going to go ahead and start clearing this out and kind of debating on a color palette. I will see you guys here in a bit. Alright, so it is now the actual update day for 1.21, and I've updated to that, and I've got just a couple of things to kind of help make the frame rate a little bit better here in this version, though there's still going to be a little bit of stuttering until fabulously optimized and get fully updated and everything. But you can see up there at the top left that I am in 1.21 now officially, which is going to be great because now I have access to everything, and I'm so excited to actually get this started. So this, don't mind this, I collected a bunch of birch from the trees and I figured that I could make some charcoal out of it. This isn't even a joke about birch wood. This is just me trying to get some extra charcoal. But yeah, so I've cleared out all of this, and admittedly this did not take me that long to do. I could have had this done and probably the thing built and everything else out here done by now, but yeah, I just kind of decided to wait until the actual update rolled out, and here we are. So I can't free cam up to show you what I'm thinking, so instead I'm going to scaffold up to show you what I'm thinking. Alright, so now that I'm up here, I can show you what I'm thinking. So what I'm thinking is right here is going to be where the build goes, and there's only going to be like a slight diagonal feature to it, and by slight I mean very, very slight, and that's just playing in my head. I might not even do that. We'll see what happens. But I'm thinking of also attaching a tower to the side of the build just for a little bit of shape and everything. I'm not really sure what to do out in this area. I'm thinking maybe like a little park area or something. And then right here, we've got this little riverbed or whatever it is, and I'm thinking I can actually utilize this. So what I'm envisioning is that I can make like a little water flow coming from this hill right here, have it flowing into this, and then make, I guess, some kind of decorations and stuff around here, and actually turn this into a bit of, well, interesting landscaping to see from the actual build itself. And then I'm thinking, and this is a stretch because I might not do it, but what I'm thinking is I might extend this area here or this area down here all the way out, just kind of curve it all the way around and get it out to that area over there. That's going to be a lot of work, and I'm not opposed to doing that much work, but it might look a little weird, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it just yet. So we'll come back to that, and we'll see what happens. But I do have an idea for at least the build in and of itself, and a little bit of landscaping out here, which I think is going to be kind of cool. Also, while I'm up here, just look at this view. Look at this. I've never actually taken the time to look at this view at nighttime, and from this angle, I guess, but this is so cool. I cannot get enough of this. I think we've made some real progress here. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I've got planned for over here, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do any of it just yet. Got a little bit of an idea in mind, and ow, there's a skeleton right there shooting at me. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I don't like this. This is not good. Not good. Not good. Oh gosh. This just got interesting. Get away from everything and everybody. Well, that happened. Yeah. I'm gonna let these mobs despawn, and then I'm going to add some more lights out here. I keep trying to zoom in, and I don't have Zoomify installed right now. But I'm gonna get rid of the scaffolding, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started on building. And this is 100% unplanned. I've got no idea what I intend on doing over here just yet. Like, I've got the plans, but that's about it. So I might actually do a little more walking through what I've got planned. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm going to get started. Okay, so I have done some work, and I actually did this much on a stream, and this isn't very much, but this is a start. So I'm wanting to use some of the new blocks in this build. So I'm thinking of using the new tuff blocks, and I like how the new tuff looks with the cobbled deep slate. But a lot of this cobbled deep slate down here is probably going to get hidden by like flowers and stuff like that. So a lot of this is not going to be seen. It's just going to kind of be sprinkled around. Pretty much at the end of it, you're only going to see a little bit of it. And what I'm thinking is for the doors and some of the windows, I want to use some of the new copper stuff. So I've got the new copper doors, and I've got the new copper trap doors over here, and I don't have very many of these. I'm gonna need to get more copper. There's just no doubt about that. So I am probably going to go caving here in a minute to get some of that. And then I'm probably going to have to get some honeycomb to wax these. So I don't want them to be oxidized fully, but I don't want them to be right here on this stage. I want them to be on the next one where they're mostly green and just a little bit of the red, because I looked at it in a creative world on stream and it looks so much better with the weathered copper. So I'm gonna wait for it to be there, and then I'm gonna wax that and then throw that in for the doors and the windows and stuff. But yeah, so I didn't really explain everything that I'm thinking for this build. I mentioned that I want there to be a little bit of a diagonal right here, and I'm thinking I'm wanting there to be like a tower over here. I don't know, for whatever reason, my mind is stuck on putting in a tower with this build. I don't know why. So I'm thinking I'm going to add that in there if I can make it work, but I want to get the rest of the structure put in before I go adding in a tower. And I added in these tough stairs here. I love being able to say that now. I added in these tough stairs for a little bit of depth. This is going to be where the windows are, obviously. And I'm basically going to do that all the way around. And then on the inside of the build here, I put mangrove for the floor, because I actually really like the red that goes with all of this. I don't know, I just think it's cool. So other than that, that's all I've done. And I just need to go get a bunch of copper, and then I need to go and get a bunch of honeycomb and get all of this taken care of. That's not really anything exciting. I don't really foresee myself needing to record anything regarding any of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get kind of taken care of and squared away, and we're going to get more of this build done. Alright, so it's been a couple days since that last clip, and I've got to admit that I have really been having a hard time doing this build, and it's not that it's like that complex of a build, I'm just bad at overthinking everything that I do. So initially what I wanted was more of like a library, and that's what we're getting, don't worry. But what I wanted was like something just a little different than what we've been doing over there, and I do have free cam installed now, so that's nice. But I wanted something just a little bit different, and then I started kind of putting the build together, and I kind of ended up going back in this direction. And right now I'm just sitting with this. I don't have a roof on it just yet. I don't really have anything else going on, but I wanted to at least keep the the bottom layer of the cobbled deep slate just for a little bit of variation, and then I've got the tuff up here. I really wanted to implement some of the new blocks in it, and that's where I've got this weathered copper here. And then I've got the tuff, and I actually kind of like this blending with the birch. Part of me feels like the birch is a little too bright. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments below, but I kind of like it, and I'm going to stick with it for the time being. If I decide to change it, then whatever. I have a feeling that this building might end up getting changed even more after I get it done with this episode anyway, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. For now, I just want to go ahead and start getting the rest of the shell put on and get the roof put on, and then start doing the outside decoration and everything like that. There's not really much to tell. Oh, by the way, I had to tear this whole building down pretty much, well, the entire top half down, and get rid of all the pillars and then replace all of them, because I messed up and I had the pillars on both ends of the wall, and it was really making the whole idea for the roof be very, very wonky. And I just needed them to be on the corner of the build like this, and that kind of smoothing that out. And I do still have an idea for a tower. I don't know necessarily if I'm going to get to that one in this episode because of how much overthinking I'm doing on this. I've already spent quite enough time just trying to get this put together. If I don't get a move on, this episode's going to be late, and I don't want to do that. So we are going to try to get the rest of that put on, and then I'm going to spend some time out here getting the landscaping done. The landscaping, I don't really have too big of a plan for, but I've got an easier time in mind for this than I do with that. So this is stuff that I'm good with. That I'm not good at impromptu building whatsoever. Anyway, that's pretty much where we stand. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update as to what I've got going. I forgot to put that wall right there, or open up that window right there. Whoops. Yeah, so there's not really anything going on. I've got mangrove floors, and then the second floor is also mangrove. And I'm thinking of doing the same roof as I did for the fishing hut over there and using dark oak and mangrove around the top. We'll see what happens, because part of me also thinks that mud and acacia might look good. Not acacia, jungle. Mud and jungle. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm going to get back to building. Alright, so I have been busy at work with this build. Now, before I show you this build, I just want to say that this build, it's not my worst build, but it's also not my best build. I think it's okay, but I'm not entirely happy with it. And I'm just going to have to be okay with that for the time being. Maybe we'll have a renovation episode later on in the future or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But the point of me leaving it like this and not scrambling to throw something together last minute is to show you guys that it's okay to build something and not like it, because that's how you grow as a builder. You're not going to learn until you start placing blocks. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've got. And I also want to preface this by saying that I don't entirely hate the build, right? The build is not terrible. It's still better than some of the builds that I've done just a couple of years ago, honestly. So without further ado, I'm going to show you what I've got going here. So this is the build as a whole, and it is pretty plain. The tower that I mentioned earlier is not there. Whoops. And yeah, I couldn't really figure out how I wanted to make that work, and I'm actually kind of have a couple of ideas here, but I don't have the time to worry about that right now. And considering with this build as a whole, I'm not entirely happy. I might not just keep this build forever, I guess. I don't know. Again, maybe there's a renovation episode in the future where this structure goes and we put something else in. I don't know. But I did use a little bit of the new blocks with the tuff and with the new copper, with the trapdoors and the door itself. And that's pretty much all the new stuff that I did with this build. It's basically all the lower half of the build. Now you can also see that I decorated with some greenery out here around the build itself. So I think the leaves tie in really nicely with the green from the copper that's around here. And I wanted something that was just a little different. So like in every other build I do, and I can't zoom in over there, I keep trying it, I usually use just regular oak leaves, and I figured this time I wanted to change it up. So there was an acacia, not acacia, wow. What is this again? This tree, azalea, that's the word. There was one of those trees out here, and I farmed up some of the leaves off of it, and I used those here. And then obviously I had to use a bunch of mangrove for the ceiling, so I farmed up a bunch of the leaves for it, and I kind of varied those around the build just to add a little bit of difference. And I actually think that's kind of a cool thing. That's something that I've never thought about doing before, and I think it's cool. So I'm kind of happy with that. And then obviously just different colors and stuff with the flowers. And then lighting with these torch posts here. And then around the build, basically the same type of thing. And then those windows have got shutters on them. And then up there at the very top, you can see this sort of thing right here. And that is just to add some sort of depth to that wall, because otherwise that was just going to be super, super bland. And I'm not a fan of that. Again, that whole thing might end up changing at some point in the future. I might actually be able to add in the tower here, and it might actually bring out this build a little bit more. I don't know. We'll come back around to that idea in the future. But yeah, so around the back, I kind of used the same ideas, but because there is a bit of a mountain here, or hill, I should say, I didn't see a point in having the windows on this side of the build. So I just kind of blocked the windows off, and from the inside, I think that'll be okay from a decorative standpoint. And then the other wall over there kind of looks the same as this one. There's not really much going on, but it is still a pretty cool build nonetheless. And then I did the same thing I did over there and added in these little archways going around just for a little bit of shape, so it's not just one giant square. And then did these kind of like jutty out bits. I need a better word for that. I don't know what that's called, but I did that and just kind of expanded the wall out further. And then did well, the same sort of thing up here, you know, with the windows, and then these little things under the windows and everything. Not anything super, super fancy. And then up there, where we've got the roof, I was struggling to figure out what I wanted to do there. I'm not gonna lie, I struggled very, very hard on that, and let me explain. So, without these upper floor area things here, I don't know what they're called. Without those, this roof would have been way too bland. Way too bland. So I added those in, basically on both sides here, just to add a little bit of shape, add a little bit of depth to the build, and honestly, it works. And then the different colors here also helps bring in a little bit more color to the roof, because just all of it being straight mangrove was really starting to bother me. I love mangrove, don't get me wrong, but I did not want the build to be just solid mangrove. And then I added in these little chimneys up here, and I tried doing some different shapes with them, and then they just were looking a little wonky down here, so I just kind of left them be. And I might tweak them in the future, but for now I think it's going to be okay. And that's pretty much it for the build itself. On inside of here, I have got nothing. Absolutely nothing. The upper floor has got nothing, and the lower floor has got nothing, and that's pretty much just gonna be how it stays for this episode, because I want to work on the landscaping out here. I honestly want to do that more than I want to worry about the enchantments. That was kind of the primary reason for this episode, but I want to get this done. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this, and I think the actual enchantment thing that I mentioned earlier, I think we're just going to save that for next episode, mainly because I also don't have enough books for bookshelves for the enchantment table. Not only for the enchantment table, but this is supposed to be a library, which needs books and bookshelves and stuff scattered throughout, and I don't have that. So I think we're just going to hold off on that, and we're going to worry about the enchantment stuff in next episode. And I'm going to go ahead and worry about the landscaping out here and figure out what I want to do there. Again, I might tie it into this whole riverbed that's out here, and then I'm going to go ahead and expand the path all the way around, and so on and so forth. You kind of get the idea. I've mentioned it a couple of times now. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so I've spent some time down here getting the landscaping and everything put in, and I've got a product that I'm actually happy with. So, if you look out here, you can see I have messed with this little lake bed here, or riverbed. Again, maybe pond is more accurate, I guess. I didn't expand it all the way over there, and the reason being that I just didn't feel like it was necessary. Maybe as I am putting builds out in that area, then maybe it'll make sense in the future? Question mark? I don't know. We'll figure that out. But for now, I started really just planning things around here, and honestly, I'm really happy with how this area looks as a whole. It's got pretty much everything that I wanted. So I've got a little bit of a water feature happening right here with a little bit of water spewing out. And then I've got this little retaining wall going out here with some spruce leaves and with some roses and some tall grass and everything just kind of sprinkled in there, just to kind of add a little bit of depth and varying heights and stuff like that. Just a little pop of color. And then down here, you know, when in doubt, I'm always going to put in these little flower fields, and I did 2 of them here, and again, that adds a lot of character and a lot of color to the area, and I'm really, really happy with that. As you can see, I've made the path and expanded it all the way on around here, and then just kind of made it go all the way around the coast. I stopped it right about there because there might end up being builds back here in this area at some point, but as of right now, I've got nothing planned. And then I tried this little thing with this over here. Ow. Okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Can I get down here safely? Okay, kind of. Okay, we're not going to talk about it. So, yeah, I've got this little retaining wall over here, and then I've got like this little railing going all the way around the area, and I think it looks really cool with the new tough blocks. Honestly, I'm so in love with these blocks. And then I tried something with these hanging signs, which is a design, that I typically don't use. It's not because I don't like it, it's just because this is super expensive to make, and because of all the curves and stuff I had going around here, these just weren't going to work all the way there. But I decided to leave them here for now, and I actually kind of like it. It's a little different from all the fences that I've got wrapping around the rest of it. And then I added in these custom trees. Yes, I did small custom trees. I've never done that before. So I did about 3 of these. Yeah, 3 of them. And I basically just kind of sprinkled them in wherever, and just wherever I felt like needed something filling the space. So I got one back there, and then I've got one here, and then one here. And then I used some of the exposed copper? That's not the right word. Exposed copper going around the tree, and then these sweet berries, and then just made the actual tree here, and then these azure bluettes going all the way around. This design is not an original design. The leafage is all me, but the actual idea for this I found somewhere on Google. I don't actually know who made it or anything. So yeah, that's where I found that. I'm not going to claim to have come up with that myself. And then this little thing here, I've seen people do this before. And this is my first time actually using a decorated pot as decorations. And then as I was putting them down, I remembered that we could put the actual pots inside. And then inside of those, we can put these azalea bushes, and then we can actually place these leaves on top of it, which makes it look like a little bit of a shrubbery around here. And I've got a few of these scattered out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's pretty much it. There's a little bit of seating, and that's really it. I can remove some of these torches that's around here for sure. And yeah, I think that's... Nope, that's not it, actually. There's one other thing. So over here inside of the actual lake itself, I keep calling it a lake. Pond. The pond. I added in a little bit of decoration down here, not much. And by a little bit, I mean I spammed the heck out of the bone meal as per usual. But I also added in the mossy cobble going throughout the area just because mossy cobble would make sense in these areas. And just kind of spread that out and just kind of tried to terraform underwater a little bit just to make some of this make sense and to make it kind of fit. And honestly, I'm kind of happy with it. It still needs a little bit of TLC, but I will eventually get around to doing more of that in the future as I get better with it. But that is pretty much all I've done over here. And then again, I have not done any interior inside of the actual library itself, which is supposed to be the main feature of today's episode. But we will worry about an interior in next episode along with the enchantment table. Because I've been rambling long enough, I've been working on this episode long enough, and I need a little break, and I want to go ahead and get this put out for you guys, so this is where we're wrapping things up. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to show your support by liking the video, commenting down below, and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. My name is Lane, and I will catch you guys in the next one.